It's been a while since I've engaged with a rage baiter here on TikTok. And let me tell you, I went through this girl's content, her entire library. It is so vapid, devoid of an original thought for sure. Completely. I really hope they pick her. It'll be old school. We can go back and forth.
Many people on the left have said that the Pledge of Allegiance upsets them.
That's crazy because I'm a leftist and I've never heard anybody say that. There's a reason why most of us really don't care, but we can get into it in a minute.
Being a citizen of the United States of America upsets you. I can see why their desires are the way that they are.
So not wanting to say the Pledge of Allegiance means that being an American citizen upsets you? I don't want to say it because I'm not in fourth fucking grade, right? Right hand over your heart, left hand in the back. Baby, look at the flag. I'm going to pop your little ethnocentric bubble for a second. But other countries don't say their own Pledge of Allegiances. Like, that's just, we don't do that. I mean, North Korea might. We don't really know what goes on in there fully. We have an idea, but, you know. Yeah, I'm not going to say it. You know why? Because I really value my freedom of speech. Because I love being an American with freedom of speech. And if I don't want a speech, I'm not going to.
The immigration crisis, open borders, to firearm bans and heavy regulation, to regulating speech, to abortion, to this anti-Christian narrative.
We're going to have to tackle these one at a time. Because your Fox News bites were like smashed together without a place to really pause in between. So let's go through these one by one, shall we? First up, the open borders, right? The immigration crisis. Question, why is it when you guys talk about open borders, you're always talking about the southern border, the one that has the wall and ports of entry and armed men like patrolling it and stuff, which if Trump built a wall, then it wouldn't be open. And if it is open, then he didn't build the wall. So one of those things, you know, both can't be true at the same time, right? So in my lifetime, 40 years I've been here, and you're like 12, so definitely in your lifetime, the strictest border bill we have ever seen written by a Republican with bipartisan support was supposed to pass. Right. And then Trump called his henchman. He was like, hey, yo, henchman. Yeah, what's up? I need you to kill that border bill. I need something to run on. Yeah. All right, cool. Bye. And they did. Now let's talk about gun bans. And we'll get to extreme regulations in a second, but let's talk about gun bans. So also in my lifetime, but probably before, it was before you were born. We actually banned assault style rifles for a while. Right. And, completely unrelated, I'm sure. Once we banned them, school and mass like dropped significantly. It was like, right, dropped significantly. And when the ban lifted, they rose again. But I'm sure that's completely unrelated, right? So I started like recreationally when I was a youngster with my uncle, my dad, my family. We all grew up around, and we know how to, and we have respect for, and we all support. But your extreme regulation, it's actually common sense gun laws that you're talking about. I mean, yeah, no, it makes sense that you think common sense is extreme. That tracks. What else are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Freedom of speech. I mean, later on in this video, you're like, oh, if you don't say the Pledge of Allegiance, you're not a real American. Basically, not verbatim, but that's paraphrasing, which I feel like is regulating someone's freedom of speech. Because as an American, a proud American, I love my freedom of speech. And that includes me not saying fucking pledges when I don't want to, right? I'm not just gonna, do what I'm told. So an American. I mean, if we did what we were told, we would have just, kept paying taxes to Britain back in the colonial days and never had representation and just been ruled by, England. But whatever. That's not important because, the foundations of America, we'll get to that. Also, isn't it your side trying to ban books? When does the left try to ban books? I mean, I agree with the right trying to ban Catcher in the Rye because Holden Caulfield's a dick. That kid, I don't care if he's 14. If he was real, I would deck him. First of all, don't start telling me a story like it's going somewhere and then just end it with, you know what? I'm done talking. That's some bullshit. You just wasted 3 hours of my time reading that book. Yeah, some of us read fast. As for abortion, here's a fun fact. If you don't want one, you don't have to get one. Crazy, right? That's crazy. It's crazy. I am going to try to, I have late start, but I'm going to try to beat my record today and have 75 abortions. Although I've also been like considering just, having a kid and then aborting it 33 years later, kind of like your Sky Daddy did. Talk about late term abortions, right? Jeez, that one takes the cake. And Christian nationalism isn't the American way, babes. Sorry. We're going to talk foundations real quick. So I'm a hairstylist by trade. I make really good money doing that, and that's why I do it. And I used it to pay to go back to school to learn something I wanted to learn, not something I was going to pursue a career in, right? That's crazy, right? People want to learn just to learn. Instead of regurgitating talking points that they've been told and they've not really looked into at all. Anyway, I went to school for English, literature specifically, but even more specifically, my focus was in early American literature. That's the media that was consumed by our founding fathers and people back in the colonies before we became a nation, before our nation was founded. So it really gives you a point of view on how they saw life back then. You read journal entries, diaries, speeches, meetings, Puritan poetry. Am I right? The Federalist Papers, everything that framed our U.S. as we know it now. And there was a lot of conflict between like which religion understood God the best. And so they made sure to leave that out of it because a lot of people did come to the U.S. fleeing religious persecution in England. So like they wanted to believe the way they wanted to believe. And so that's what our nation's like religious rule is. Hence, Congress shall make no law in respect to any one religion. The very first line of our Constitution. That one. Yeah. I can just chat with you forever. Continue.
Are simply un-American, unfortunately. They have no interest in the values that our foundation was built on.
Did I mention not only was I studying American Lit, but I also studied U.S. history and political science. So I know what the foundation of this country were founded on. You, however, have not a clue. Lost in the sauce. But I'm sure that you know better than me because you were told differently. I read the words of the people that framed our country. But go off, ma'am.
Also unfortunate that these un-American people with these ideologies, these anti-American ideologies, have adopted the leftist platform.
So human rights. That's what the leftist platform is human rights. So, okay, that's un-American. Human rights. I mean, historically, the history you guys want to erase, but yeah, historically, because you guys aren't banning books or anything, because freedom of speech. Yeah, historically, we're not a big fan of human rights.
There is no way that you can say something like, the Pledge of Allegiance makes me upset and I don't like it and I think it's weird and I think it's stupid, and to be proud to be an American. Proud to be an American, why are you even here?
Now, you speak a lot about narratives, and this one's probably going to rock your narrative a little bit. But let's talk about the Pledge of Allegiance for a quick second. First and foremost, the original draft did not have under God in it at all. That was actually inserted into it to protest communist Russia, to let them know that no human is above another. That the only place that could take for anybody would be a god, right? Not any specific one, but a god. Second, we didn't put it on our currency until roughly around the same time. It was on pennies, like I think in the late 1890s, but they didn't. That wasn't a thing, like for a majority of the history of our country. You know what I mean? Also, fun fact: Francis Bellamy is the guy that wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, and he was a Christian Baptist socialist who believed that Jesus was a socialist. So you're reciting a pledge that a socialist wrote. It's a socialist pledge. School. And you don't like the leftist agenda. Socialists are leftists, babe. Sorry about it. And I can be proud to be an American without saying something stupid like the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't need to do that. You know that part of the Second Amendment you guys always get wrong about overthrowing the government? Part of your First Amendment is being able to criticize your own government and demand things of your own government, right? That's what being American is. Not blindly showing loyalty to it, because some of us can think for ourselves. Hope that helps. Merry Christmas.